Good evening all, welcome to our Tuesday evening meeting of the Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club. My name is Rick Starr. It's my pleasure to introduce the president of the club, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you. This is a reminder, we meet every Tuesday evening at the Hy-Vee Community Room at the west end of the Hy-Vee store on Burlington. We meet from 7:45 to 9:15. Those of you who are not here but are watching from home, we would love to have you come down and be sure to bring your shopping list because you can get that accomplished as well. Do we have any guests here tonight? Looks like we're good on guests. I did want to welcome our new member. She's actually been a new member for a couple of weeks, but I just met her. Tabitha Sedgwick, and we'll be hearing from her later. Does everybody meet Tabitha?
Yep.
Is everyone clear? Okay, great. So it's always a pleasure. The way people hear about Toastmasters, one of the primary ways that they do is word of mouth. Does anyone here not have a mouth that is workable and able to issue invitations? Okay, we have humming bees in the room. At any rate, Tabitha, how did you find out about Toastmasters? I'm just curious since I didn't hear your story.
I knew about Toastmasters a long time ago. My husband was involved for many years, actually before I met him. And then some friends here started joining, like Samantha Young from school and Prana, and then also John, Prana's dad. So through my friends, yeah.
So just a couple, it took several different kinds of exposures, and then at some point it just reached critical mass.
It's something, yeah, it's something I really wanted to do, and then my mentor Jim Bagnola said you must do it. So here I am.
You know why he said you should?
Because I want to be a public speaker.
Okay. Okay, so communicator, new communicator on the path. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for
He teaches leadership.
Pardon?
Jim Bagnola,
Yes,
she's talking about,
Yes.
he teaches leadership.
he teaches leadership. So, a teacher of leadership, making it a necessity for you to come to Toastmasters, which is the premier leadership and communication organization in the world. That's a good statement. So, thank you for sharing that with us, Tabitha. I think we've got all of the basics covered here. Thank you for everyone for being here tonight. I'm going to, at this time, start our meeting and hand over the lectern to our Toastmaster for the evening, Rick Starr.
Thank you, Jean. Fellow Toastmasters. We're going to start the meeting tonight, excuse me, by introducing our role player and the timer, Tabitha. Please explain the role.
How that will work is for table topics, they are 1 or 2 minutes long. The green light will turn on at 1 minute, the yellow light will turn on at 1.5, and then the red light at 2 minutes, and then it will remain on until the end of the speech. For prepared speeches, they're usually 5 to 7 minutes long. Tonight we have a special speech from Lewis that will actually be the total of 19 minutes if he chooses to use up to that. But I will turn the green light on at 15 and then the yellow light at 17.5, and then the green light will come on at 19 minutes. Okay, and then for evaluations, evaluations are 3 minutes long. Green light at 2 minutes, yellow at 2.5, and red at 3. Thank you very much.
And now our grammarian to Mr. Emery Styron.
All right, Substitute Grammarian just handed me the form, but I'd already composed a explanation of my duties to introduce new words, which we have up here on the board. I don't think it's a new word, but it's a nice short 4-letter word. Heed is our word of the day, to consider someone's advice or warning and do what he or she says or suggests.
Heed, use the word of the day.
Heed this suggestion, use the word of the day.
There we go.
And then my second job is to comment on the use of English during the course of the meeting. And I'll be taking notes on good uses of English and maybe a few not so good, and give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Emery. And now for the counter report, Nirja.
I will listen carefully and pick up all the filler words like like, you know, so, but, and, tongue click, repeat, false start, and at the end, I will give a report.
We'll hear from our general evaluator, Jean Symington Craig, later in the meeting. So this is the section of the meeting where we do prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Louis Denbaum. Louis is speaking from the Advanced Manual, the Professional Speaker Manual. Louis is doing Project 1, which is the keynote address. And the title of Louis's talk is Relationships in a World of Expanding Technology. Louis's speech is 15 to 20 minutes long. And the objectives of Louis's speech are to identify the basic differences between keynote speeches and other speeches, learn how to evaluate audience feeling and establish emotional rapport, learn and use the professional techniques necessary for a successful keynote presentation, develop a speech style and delivery that effectively inspires and moves the audience to adopt your views as a collective reaffirmation of its own. To introduce Louis is Duart Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and audience members, I have the pleasure of introducing Louis Denbaum, who has graduated from the University of Iowa College of Law with the highest honors, has served as a CPA, attorney, CFO, CEO, and most recently as a relationship coach and communications consultant. After 2 failed marriages, Louis considered himself an expert in creating disagreements, escalating them, and finding resolutions. He decided to hang up his boxing gloves and search for a better way. He's been a student of relationships and communication ever since. Louis is certified as a relationship coach for singles and couples through the Relationship Coaching Institute. He is the co-author with his wife Diane of the book, Madly in Love Forever, a guide to true and lasting love. Their workshop includes conscious dating in today's world, relationship goal setting, the 5 love languages, rituals for intimacy, communication for couples, and relationship tune-up. He and his wife Diane live in Fairfield, Iowa, and have a blended family of 5 young adult children. Please help me welcome to our relationship conference, Louis Denbaum.
Thank you, Duart, for that wonderful introduction. And I thank you for digging deep to find some good things to say about me. and all of you at today's relationship workshop. It's great to see you and be here with you. We share this common bond of all of us in this room want to improve relationships. So I'm on a plane coming back from a 12-day business trip. The plane lands in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. After a while, the flight attendant comes on the PA system. Thank you for flying with us today. Come back soon, have a great day, and please walk off the plane carefully. So I proceed down the aisle, slowly. I get into the jet bridge, and I'm walking quickly now because I want to get home. I haven't been home in 12 days. And I step into the terminal. I'm shocked. There's about 200 people in the terminal waiting for the next flight. Some are sitting, some are standing. But the commonality is every single one of them is staring at a cell phone or another mobile device. They look like zombies. And I'm thinking, have I stepped into some sci-fi movie? Is that what I look like when I'm hooked into my phone? It was troublesome seeing that. And it was sad, because here was an opportunity for people traveling together, husbands and wives to be conversing, parents and children to be conversing, or if you're sitting next to a stranger, to figure out, are they going on some nice, interesting business trip? Are they going on a fascinating vacation? But everyone chose to isolate themselves with their mobile devices. Folks, technology is supposed to be a tool for us to use to better our lives, not to imprison us. I guess that's why they call them cell phones. All right, bad pun. I promise not to punish you anymore tonight. So let's talk about what technology is doing to relationships in today's world. Let's start with a technological advancement which I think is fantastic for relationships. So raise your hand if you've ever heard of Skype. Raise your hand if you've heard of Skype. Keep your hand up if you've actually used Skype. Okay, so almost everybody. For those of you who are not familiar with Skype, Skype is a program you download onto your computer or phone, and it basically turns your computer or phone into a video phone. When my daughter was in college, she started to major in Spanish. She decides in her junior year that she's going to Ecuador to study at an Ecuadorian university. The day for her departure arrives. I drive her to the airport. We walk in and we walk up to the security counter. This is as far as I can go, folks, because I don't have a ticket. I'm not flying. So we give each other a big hug and a kiss goodbye. And as she walks through security, she turns back and she looks at me and says, "Hasta la vista, padre. Te amo mucho." And my heart just started to break because I'm thinking, I may not see her for a whole year. A week goes by, and I get an email from her. "Dad, can you Skype Sunday night at 8? And I promptly email back, "Yes, yes." And I'm waiting all week long for Sunday at 8. Finally it arrives, I sit down at my computer, I click on Skype, I click on my daughter's name, and then the computer is dialing her. About 10 seconds later, there she is on my computer screen. I can see her, she's bubbly, she's happy. We start talking, we talked for over an hour. She caught me up on everything going on since she arrived in Ecuador. She was even able to take her computer, turn the webcam around, and show me every nook and cranny in the room that she was staying with her host family. Skype was an incredible technological tool for me. We Skyped almost every Sunday night during that year. It allowed me to stay connected to my daughter while she was in a foreign country. And for her, It helped her in the first month or two to get over homesickness. So I encourage all of you, get familiar with Skype and use it to stay in touch with family and friends who are not in your town. Now, let's go on to technology, which isn't always so great. Texting. Texting is prolific. It's all over the place. In fact, I read a survey that said that 53% of 6-year-olds already have their first cell phone. The average cell phone user, according to another survey, says that we check our cell phones over 150 times a day. That's a lot. I have 5 millennial children. Not one of them has hooked up their voicemail box on their cell phones. Why? They don't want me to call them. They want me to text them. I don't know why we call them cell phones. We should call them cell texters. Because some people never use it as a phone. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of texting. It's my belief that texting is best when it's something short and sweet, a quick question, a quick answer, something that's unambiguous. Let me give you an example of what I feel is a good use of texting. My last client of the day goes longer than expected. After my client leaves, I take out my cell phone, I text my wife, late, period, ETA 6:15, sent. She doesn't even have to respond. I've just used my my cell phone to tell her that I'm coming home a little bit late. Here's another one. The next day, my wife has an important presentation she's giving. A half hour before she's due on stage, I text her, "Good luck, honey." So all she needs to know is that I'm thinking about her right before her big moment. I don't have to call her and distract her with a phone call when she's getting ready to go on stage in 30 minutes. So those are a couple of good ways to use texting. Oh, here's another one. Breaking up with your boyfriend and girlfriend. You send them a text, "It's over, sayonara, adios, done with you." You send the text, you block their phone number, and then you unfriend them on Facebook. Perfect use of technology. Only kidding. But it does happen, as you're probably aware. So that's the good of texting. What about the bad? I believe that it's bad to use texting that takes up a lot of time when you can get the same thing done with a simple phone call. So here are 2 examples from my life that take place in the gym. I'm working out in the gym at the end of my day before going home for dinner. I get a text message from my wife. She says, "Can you go shopping before you come home?" Okay. "Can you go to the health food store and the supermarket? Prefer only to go to one. Health food store, we need milk. What kind? How much? Whole, half gallon. Okay. We need flour." You get the picture. This goes on, and we waste 30 text messages waiting for each one to come in before I can feel like, okay, I got the picture. I got everything I need to do. A simple phone call would have sufficed. Now here's another one. Another day, I'm at the gym, I'm working out, and my wife sends me a text. "We need lettuce and ketchup for dinner." So I continue working out. I'm tired, it was strenuous, been a long day. All I can think about is, I want to get home and eat. I'm not one of these people that has my cell phone strapped to my hip, especially when I'm working out. It's in my gear and I look at it occasionally. So I rush out of the gym, I drive home, bound up the front steps, open the door, and my wife yells out, "You get my text?" "No, I sent it." "Yeah, so?" I didn't check. Dinner ruined. So folks, my suggestion is figure out when it's appropriate to use a text in simple situations, and don't use it when it's a long, drawn-out conversation, or you need the person to know that you communicated. Now let's go to the ugly. There used to be a joke. How can you tell the old married couple sitting in the restaurant? Anybody know the answer?
They're not using a cell phone.
No? This is a while ago. This is like 20 years ago.
They're not talking.
They're not talking to each other. Okay? That was the joke. And actually, if you looked around, you'd see that a lot. It wasn't really funny. It was kind of sad to see these people sitting in the restaurant not talking for the whole time. Well, now, there's lots of people of all ages sitting in restaurants at tables not talking to each other because they're plugged into their cell phones, their iPads, their mobile devices. Now, I'm exaggerating because it's not like they're completely ignoring each other, but they're distracted. They're in conversation, they're looking down. They haven't given their full attention and presence to the people they've chosen to go out to dinner. I think, folks, we're missing a big opportunity in our relationships. If we're not fully present with the people we choose to spend time with, that's actually not good for the relationship. Now, I haven't always heeded this advice. I got addicted to an app on my phone about 4 years ago that allowed me to play Scrabble with someone else on their phone. It started out innocently. I was playing with a close friend. And I got frustrated because sometimes he'd take 6 hours before he'd make his move. And I'm waiting, like, come on, I want to play Scrabble. Well, then I started playing with a second person, a third person, and before you know it, I had 15 Scrabble games going on at once. And so I'm checking my cell phone every 5 minutes because I want to see if one of these people has made their move. Thanksgiving Day rolls along, comes along. And I've invited my family over. My wife and I are sitting in the living room. Our guests arrive. We're having cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. And they're actually conversing with me. They're saying, "Hey, we made these stuffed mushrooms just the way you love them. Want another glass of wine?" But I don't hear them. I don't even know they're talking to me because I've got my cell phone in my lap and I'm checking my 15 Scrabble games. Until finally, my wife comes over and whispers in my ear, "Put your damn cell phone away." And I realized, oh, yeah, she's right. Put my cell phone away, and I was able to enjoy the rest of my Thanksgiving Day with my company. So my advice is to really be present for your guests and not let your technology control you. So that's the ugly, when you become rude in your relationships because of technology. Let's talk about the really ugly. Are you ready? The really ugly is texting while driving. They estimate that 23% of crashes occur when people are texting and driving. If you're texting and driving, you are 6 times more likely to crash than if you were driving intoxicated. Here's a fact. You're driving at 55 miles an hour, right? We could be doing that anywhere here in Iowa on some of the major highways and roads. If you look down at your cell phone to read a text or to send a text, and you take 5 seconds to do that, By the time you look up 5 seconds later, your car has traveled a distance greater than a football field with nobody paying attention. That's scary. There are stories out there, true stories, of people texting their beloved saying, "I love you, honey." And that ends up being the last thing they've ever done in their life. Here's my suggestion. When you leave this workshop, go home to your loved one. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, children. Look them in the eye and say, "I love you so much that I promise to never text and drive. And I love you so much that I want you to make the same promise to me right now." Get it? Okay. Who would like to spice up their relationship with technology? Legally, raise your hand. Only a couple, huh? Oh, okay. Lazy people. So here's my little game for you using your cell phone. Suppose it's Friday. You're at work, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're looking forward to spending a wonderful evening with your beloved at night. You use the incomplete sentence technique. Send a text, and you say, "I can't stop thinking about," you send it. Now what's your beloved going to do with that? They're going to wonder, like, what is he talking about? Send the text back, huh? You make them wait an hour or two before you respond. And you say, "How beautiful you are." Okay, so the whole sentence is, "I can't stop thinking about how beautiful you are," but it came in 2 pieces. And they say, "Oh, honey, that's so nice." You wait an hour. You send another incomplete text. "I can't wait until," send it off. And they'll say, "What?" You wait an hour or so. "I see you, so." What? So they send you another text. You wait another hour and say, "So I can give you a hug and a kiss." You play this game all day long of incomplete texts, an hour apart, building up the anticipation so that you can have a wonderful evening together. Sound like fun? So let's talk about suggestions for how to use technology in your relationships a little bit better. So I've already given you, I have 5 suggestions. The first one I've already given you. Use Skype. It's fun. Connect with people who have moved away from where you live. Connect with them on Skype. The second I've already given you also. Don't text and drive. The next 3 are what I call digital detox. So the first is a daily digital detox. Don't turn on your phone for the first hour of your day. And at the same time, turn off your phone 1 hour before you go to sleep. Use those 2 periods of time for self-reflection, meditation, reading a good book, and interacting with the people in your household. Your children, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. The next digital detox is on the weekend. It's a longer digital detox. Pick a time frame, say Saturday from 9 to 11. Turn your phone off. Do something connecting with that time. Throw a football around with your kids in the front yard. Ride your bike with your wife or husband. Go for a walk together. And then see how many weeks in a row you can do that and gradually extend it. Maybe you'll get to the point where no cell phone the whole day. And then the last digital detox is when you're on vacation. We spend so much time and energy and money to get on vacation, and then many of us are spending huge chunks of our vacation time sitting at a pool plugged into digital technology. We're missing out on the historic sites all around the hotel area. We're missing interacting with our kids and our wife and our husbands. Make a commitment when you go on vacation to digitally detox and have way more fun. Connect with your loved one. So, those are my suggestions for having a better relationship as technology continues to expand all around us at an exponential pace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louis. Now let's take 2 minutes to write an evaluation for Louis. And Madam Timer, could you time 2 minutes, please? Welcome back. Madam Timer, did Louis qualify?
Yes, Louis did qualify. His speech was 20 minutes and 24 seconds.
Very good. And we won't have a vote on the best speaker tonight, but I'd like to turn over the meeting to our general evaluator, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Tonight we do have one evaluation. Dwar, is that going to be you?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had enough time, since it's a very long speech and we just had 2 minutes, because we would be calling you up now? Would you like a little more time to work on your evaluation?
I've had enough time.
Okay. Okay, well, in that case, we'll continue on with the agenda as it's written. And I'd like to welcome up Stuart Straub, who will be evaluating Louis.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. And thank you, Louis Denbaum, for that informative, amusing, and inspirational speech. What did the speaker say and do to arouse the audience interest following the introduction? Well, his voice immediately had a warmth and a strength that was very inviting, I feel, to us all. He was appreciative of the introduction and warmed himself to the audience with his joke about me finding out good things to say about him. So it showed right off the bat, this man has knowledge about his subject and a sense of humor. Was he able to communicate to the listeners that he or she was united with them by bonds of sympathy, common experience, and understanding? I say yes. He reminded the audience very confidently that we've all had and share these relationship, emotional experiences with the frustrations, the value of technology. So he pulled us in again very nicely. Did the speaker project confidence and authority, voice, language, platform presence? Yes, by his voice, his word choice, and presence, he projected confidence right off the bat, walked in front of the podium, which we always love to see in the speaker. It's like, okay, this man has a command of the material and a good relationship with presenting the audience. Very comfortable, and he used his voice well by raising and lowering it to emphasize actions, such as texting. I like that thing he was doing with his hands. It's something that we all see every day and can readily identify with. And to convey the advantages and disadvantages of texting. Was the speaker's style inspirational? And describe how? Yes. He used language that we could all relate to. And he spoke in a natural rhythm that kept me interested, and I feel everyone also. He hit the highs, he hit the lows, and emphasized something. There'd be body language, and he would raise his voice so we knew that something was coming or happened. And he always had us active aware of what he was presenting? Did the inspirational tone interpret or reinterpret existing feelings in the audience? Did the speaker express audience emotion? He expressed our experiences very clearly. He voiced our concerns about, very important, texting and driving, and also had a little bit of fun with the frivolous messaging that a lot of people do. And I like that he went into how well texting can be used. Just brevity. Okay, just get the message out there. Was it lettuce and ketchup? Okay. And instead of like a lengthy list, I like how he shared effective ways of using it. And also, I think humans want more. We want more out of it than just a distraction. So I like how he introduced you can spice things up in a relationship. So there's so many reasons to heed the information that was presented to us. Did the speaker use appropriate humor to create a lightness of spirit in meeting audience expectations? I like how he playfully introduced how technology isolates people. And then he showed us how to reconnect and have a good time with it. And the joke about cell phone, like being incarcerated in this technology, that was clever and fun. Did the speaker give the audience a final thought to take away after the speech? What was it? What manner of closing was used to convey it? Well, what really stood out for me was the warning after, the warning of texting and driving. Then he followed it up by going to the loved ones and saying, let's make this promise to each other that we won't do this. Let's care enough about each other to not just throw our lives away because we're so hooked on technology. And positive suggestions that I can offer to assist the speaker in improving his or her performance. Well, first I want to speak again about how effectively the body language is used to emphasize points and actions, such as the wonderful cell phone example, strength of language to emphasize points. And the only thing I would say is, and it's something that I do also, is tend to do things repetitively, bring the hands together, fingertips together, and certain motions. And if you would have been a less powerful speaker, then that might have been a distraction, but no way with the presentation that you gave. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, George. That was a very, very well thought out evaluation. All right, are we ready to loosen up, have some table topics, have some impromptu speaking? Everybody kind of, squirm a little bit, get out of the prepared structure. All right, good. So with that, we want to invite up our table topics master for the evening, Art Atkinson.
General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters and viewers at home. And all you guests out there, welcome.
Thank you.
So tonight's theme is listening. We have a very pungent quote from Ernest Hemingway about the value placed on listening. I found a few others by other writers. So here's how I'm going to work this. I'm going to read a few names of the authors of these quotes to whoever is my volunteer. And you get to choose according to the name of the author. And I'll read you the quote about listening and ask you to please give us your thoughts about that idea. So, for example, if we were to use tonight's quote from Ernest Hemingway, I would say, since you've chosen Ernest Hemingway, the quote is, "I like to listen. I have learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen." Please give us your thoughts about that. So that's how I'll do this. Who'd like to go first? George.
Yes. Let me work on my signs.
All right.
Okay, so I have Doug Larson, Kelsey Grammer, Rabindranath Tagore, Larry King. Who would you choose?
Let's go with Larry King, because I normally wouldn't choose anything like this.
Okay. Larry King's. I remind myself every morning, nothing I say this day will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening. Larry King. Please give us your thoughts about that idea.
Well, why stay locked into what you know? Why not take a chance and learn something new from someone, even someone you wouldn't normally interact with? Let's say you're with your group of friends, certain family members. Why not seek out someone that you would normally choose to interact with? And hey, maybe they can alter our perspective. Maybe they have a differing political viewpoint, philosophical viewpoint. It could be as simple as perhaps they have a different style of dress, speaking. Maybe they're introverted. That would contrast nicely with my extroversion. And then maybe we can find out how to be ambiverts. I don't know. But so why stay in the known? Why not break through and value differing perspectives? Just be more inclusive in our interactions, and don't be one of those people that can't wait for the other person to stop talking so it's your turn to talk, which is hugely frustrating for most of us who are thoughtful people.
Thank you. Well done. Who else would like to try this? Dear Jeff. Okay. So, in honor of your country of origin, so one choice would be Rabindranath Tagore.
Yeah, I think I would.
You want? Yes. Trees are the earth's endless effort to speak to the listening heaven. Trees are the earth's endless effort to speak to the listening heaven.
Toastmasters, guests at home and viewers at home. Trees are expression of God. Imagination, I guess. There are so many different kinds of trees. Every tree has own character, own features, and own fruit. And when people need something, is their desire of eating food, they want some fruit, they will go to apple tree or pear tree or grape bush. So it's God watches us and He sees that, okay, they need food, this kind of fruit they need, people need. So He creates all these trees in the world. What else? Thank you.
Way to go. Who else would like to do this? Jean. Okay, so Ryan McGill, Simon Sneck, Emma Thompson, or Buddha.
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. Any problem, big or small within a family, always seems to start with bad communication. Someone isn't listening.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. I have just returned from a family visit. I was at my mom's last week in Atlanta. My sister lives 3 blocks away. We do not speak with each other. My mom and my sister are cordial, but not really speaking to each other. I'm going to air a little dirty laundry here because this particular quote relates directly to what I was experiencing last week. This sister that I don't talk to also doesn't talk to my brother or my other sister. Dan, my husband, whose family is Norman Rockwell to the hilt, everyone loves each other, everyone gets along. When he hears these stories and he's seen it firsthand, it's just, he shakes his head, does not compute. So I fully agree with Emma Thompson that, at least from my perspective, with our individual family, we were raised to be sharp, intellectual, argumentative, whatever you say, I can come back with an opposite view. It really was, if you agreed with someone in some way, you were weak and you lost. And that was not to be tolerated in our family. Very strange. It sounds so strange, and I do laugh at it when I think about it. But the listening, there's that saying that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So that's the ratio that we should be using in communication. My family needs to hear about this, listen to this, take heed of this wisdom. We're still young. We can still get it together. I will keep you posted.
Wow, there are no accidents. Who else? We have plentiful time. Okay.
Emery.
Emery, excellent. I have for you Doug Larson, Kelsey Grammer, George Carlin, Simon Sinek.
George Carl.
Yeah. I'm always relieved when someone is delivering a eulogy and I realize I'm listening to it. Good luck.
Well, that brings to mind several thoughts. Probably you have all heard people say that I read the newspaper every morning and check for my obituary, and if I don't find it, I feel like it's going to be a pretty good day. So that's along the same lines of hearing a eulogy and being thankful that it's not for you. Of course, the irony is that we probably will not be able to hear our own eulogies. But it also does raise a more serious point, which is this: what will your eulogy be? I often wonder about that. along with, will there be a crowd at my funeral or will it be sparsely attended? And those kinds of thoughts get back to what is the impact of my life? And so it's a humorous idea that George Carlin had here as to hearing the eulogy and being grateful it's not for you, but it does bring up a serious thought. What will be the impact of your life? Mr. Toastmaster.
Don't have an agenda with me. Let's see. Wait,
You go
Do we have more
to
time?
8:42. You can do one more.
one more. One more. Who would like to ruminate on some of the other fabulous quotes that I have here? Tabitha.
Okay.
I'm not gonna turn it down.
Okay. So we have excellent ones still left. I'm going to choose it for you. How's that?
Go for it.
Brian McGill. One of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say.
Good evening, Toastmaster, fellow members, and people at home. So our quote was about how one of the most greatest forms of respect is listening to what other people have to say. And I think we can all relate to the fact that it's very important and profound when you feel heard by another human being, especially one of your loved ones. So for me, I am also married. We've talked about marriage and communication and family tonight. And something that I really take time to do and heed the advice of our quotation is, even if I'm feeling distracted or my mind's on something else, if my husband's saying something, especially something that he's proud of or he's sharing something about his day, I stop and I listen. And I really take in what it is that he's saying. And I think this is just a very important point for all of us with anyone in our lives. It's easy to overlook those things and just maybe nod your head or maybe not even listen at all. But me taking my time to really give that person my presence is valuable, and that person is respected and the relationship is enforced. So I invite you all to remember that and do that with your own loved ones at home, especially the people you see all the time, and don't always take the time to take that very profound moment to really have them be heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I will end by just sharing with you two of the others that are just so beautiful that I can't let them go. Prayer is when you talk to God. Meditation is when you're listening. Playing the piano allows you to do both at the same time. Kelsey Grammer. And from Doug Larson, wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to talk. Madam General Evaluator.
What is Buddha's quote?
Buddhist quote.
Buddha's quote, you
The
said
last quote.
Buddha?
Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you'd have preferred to talk. Doug Larson.
Doug Larson is the Far Side cartoonist.
No, I
That's
was
Gary
doing the
Larson.
same thing. So just for clarification, Doug Larson is not Gary Larson.
Oh, Gary
On the
Larson.
far side with the animals and the talking and all of that, which is, I know, I was exactly going there too. Really nice quotes. You took a little time and got some really, really good ones. Wasn't that fun to talk to those, address those of us that got up? It's really nice. We are going to have a table topics evaluator who will point out, vote, thank you very much, vote. Let's, Madam Timer, could you just tell us the individuals who qualified?
Okay. For table topics,
Just for table topics, and you don't need to read the times, just the names.
okay, everyone qualified for table topics, and that would be Dewar, Nirja, Jean, Emery, and myself.
Very good. Let's go ahead, we'll have our table topics evaluator, Mr. Ryan Bonner.
Great. All right. Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. This evening has had a theme of listening and compassionate communication and empathy and all these themes which pretty much were included in everyone's table topics. And I will just give a brief reflection on everyone's table topics and what I thought about them, and ways that you could maybe improve, and ways that you excel. Dewar, I would say I liked your scientific approach, how you brought in the terminology of introvert, extrovert, ambivert. You know, not everybody knows what an ambivert is, but I think it's a combination of both of those, introvert and extrovert, which is cool. And you said that most of us are frustrated by people who are jumping at the bit to talk, when we all really like somebody to just listen. And so that was a good I forget what your quote was. Anyways, I think it reflected what your quote was about, so you kind of stayed on topic there. And I would suggest using the 30 seconds. You jumped right into it. Let's see, maybe just use 30 seconds just as a, who knows how your speech would have changed, but it might have. Nirja, you have always, when I remember your speeches, they're always including nature. The bees, I remember you talked about the bees and how they flutter about and pollinate the flowers and everything. So tonight's speech, you talked about God's imagination creating the trees around us to provide sustenance for people. So that was pretty interesting, philosophical thing to bring in. And again, I would just recommend maybe what I'm doing right now is, we all as in Toastmasters, we like to move around and engage the space, the stage. But I did like how you engaged the audience and asked the audience some questions too. I think, or you just, your eye contact, very good eye contact. Jean, you had Emma Thompson's quote of something, and it was nice to see the story. You brought in a story, just straight up, just talking about your life and how that was I like that. You brought in your experience with your sisters, and I don't have any recommendations for you. Emery, confident. You took us on a little lesson, a little philosophical lesson in life. You said that, what would you want on your eulogy? You asked us questions, so I think that's a good thing to include the audience. And Tabitha, you were talking about marriage, and again, I think you stayed in one space as well, but good way of rolling with just going with the flow about, you said your quote was about respect, and again, compassionate communication, listening, I like that, so that's all I got. Thanks.
Our next course is our reports. You agreed? Oh no, we need to vote on our evaluators. Madam Timer, would you please tell us which of our evaluators qualified?
Let's see.
And two.
We have two. Neither.
Yes. Neither qualified.
I don't think so.
So they went over 3 minutes, 30 seconds?
Correct.
I had a lot of table topic speakers.
So, no, actually,
No. And it was a long speech for him too, so we should both qualify.
yes. Well,
Rules are rules. Gotta stick to the rules.
okay, all
Rules
right,
can be broken.
Well,
all right. It is true that we do have a precedent that when we had 5 table topics,
You should have gotten 30 seconds longer.
should have gotten a little bit longer.
Okay.
Okay, so how long was he?
The table prana was 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
So that's good.
You
All right, we're
would
gonna call that good for 5 people. Okay, so we have 1 qualifier. Now, what is the rationale for keeping Dewart in the race?
It was 19 minutes.
3
Long
times the
speech,
length
yeah.
of an average speech.
It was a humongously long speech, although very entertaining, Louis.
Humongously long.
Humongously long,
Oh, I should write that
very,
down, too.
and very little time to prepare, really. I mean, he had the same preparation as the rest of us. I think in this case, and is this your first evaluation?
No,
Did you evaluate last week?
no. I haven't evaluated anyone since I was in Kentucky.
No, but here,
Here, no, this is
the past is past, I mean, here.
First one
It's
here.
the first one
This
here.
Maiden voyage here.
All right,
It's gotta
so
qualify.
he gets that he gets a waiver because it's his first time and he's just getting used to the atmosphere. All right, so we have, this is not setting a precedent, however, because we do need to be sticklers for timing. Yes.
And for educational purposes, it was 4 minutes and 56 seconds. So just so you can get a gauge for yourself.
Yeah. Good, and we'll go over the timing, but so we'll give you that first evaluation flexibility, but heed the warning. All right, good.
Oh,
So we have,
Lay him. I laid my pen.
so we have both 2 qualifiers, and if you guys could just vote and have somebody pick up those votes. Done, sir? Oh, okay, our first report is going to be our timer. Tabitha, would you please tell us what we're doing and how we did?
So I'm stating the name and the time. Okay, we had 5 table topic speakers. Myself at 1 minute 45 seconds, Dewar at 1 minute 19 seconds, Nirja 1 minute 21 seconds, Jean 2 minutes and 9 seconds, and Emery at 1 minute and 20 seconds. Our speech from Lewis was 20 minutes and 24 seconds, and our speech from Dewar was, our evaluation from Dewar was 4 minutes 56 seconds, and from Prana 3 minutes 41 seconds.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll hear from our grammarian, Anne-Marie Styron. Rick. Okay.
The applause finally done. Lots of good use of language for not very many speakers, starting with Jean, humongously long, new communicator on the path, and my favorite, Norman Rockwell to the hilt. Nirja, very poetic image. Trees are the expression of God's imagination. Lewis, have I I stepped into a sci-fi movie, and very clever. That's why they call them cell phones. Original, I'm sure. Deward, we've already found out he really has a gift for turning a phrase. He mentioned the warmth and strength of Lewis's approach, or warmth and strength was inviting. I like the phrase frivolous messaging, and humans want more. Art had so many beautiful quotes that I was looking for some of his own language, and I finally got it. So beautiful, I can't let them go. Jumping back to Deward, find out how to be ambiverts. Had never heard that word, but I like it. And Lewis, the good, bad, and the ugly of texting. Distance greater than a football field, that's not so eloquent, but it just creates an image that we can all relate to very, very vividly. And then the phrase digital detox is something that we can really get our mind around. It's a memorable phrase. Jean had 2 words of the day. Tabitha, Lewis, and Deward had 1 each. I failed to heed my own.
Said, heed my advice and use the word
Oh,
today.
well,
And I probably do
thank
say
you.
it, but
all right, I take that
Our
back.
next report is our counter, Nirja.
I didn't hear anything in Rick Starr's speech, whenever he was speaking. Louis, only 1 tongue click, nothing else. Deward, 1 R and 1 end. Jean, nothing. Art, nothing. Emery, 1 R. And Tabitha, 1 R. Pranav, 7 R, 2 8 and 1 tongue click.
That's it. Good.
Very good.
Mr. Toastmaster, do we have a joke master? So let's hear it for our joke master for the evening, Dan Craig.
A fellow was driving down the highway and he passed a truck that had wrecked off to the side, and there was a couple of dozen penguins wandering around this truck. So he gets out to see if he can help. The driver says, "You gotta help me. I gotta call AAA and get this wreck fixed. Can you take these penguins to the zoo, please?" So the guy takes pity on him. They load all the penguins in his back seat. He drives away. The guy gets his truck fixed. He drives to the zoo. No penguins. He's frantic. He's driving all over town, just searching for the penguins. He finally sees the driver walking out of the cinema. And here's a little line of penguins following him. So he gets out and he yells at the guy. He says, "I told you to take these penguins to the zoo. What do you think you're doing?" The guy says, "I did take them to the zoo, but I had some money left, so I thought I'd take them to a movie."
That's pretty funny. Now, just want to say, that was pretty fun to watch, Dan inhabiting that joke. So I like to see those kinds of jokes where you tell the story and you actually get that practice of being funny like that. Dan's funny at other times too, but he's,
Was that impromptu or were you the chosen joke master of the evening?
No, it was a joke I knew, but I didn't.
you didn't know you were going to be a joke master when you came in.
Impromptu, right?
Okay,
Wow.
so
It was
that's,
impromptu-ish.
so that's a statement for having 2 or 3 jokes available because in your pocket because you never know when the social or professional or business scene will require somebody to save the day with a good joke, and you can really get the crowd on your side and like that. So that sounds like a good idea. General evaluator. My job, so Tabitha, you'll time me 3.5, 4.
Okay.
My primary job in this club as a general evaluator is to evaluate the evaluators. I don't have that many, so I will go ahead and get started. Deward, for a first evaluation in this club, and I know there are things in the past, but I was very impressed with how closely your evaluation technique tracks what we teach is good evaluation technique in this club. Deward used the manual objectives. He went right through and gave Lewis specific feedback on the questions that came with the project, and he also acquainted the audience with the objectives that Toastmasters International considers important for this project. So I was interested to hear those. Deward also gave specific examples showing very good listening skills. That's our theme for tonight, but it's also something that we're always practicing. Relationship issues shared and the ubiquitous technology that we're all with. He pointed out how Lewis helped develop rapport with the audience with that. Deward, when he gave comments, he actually demonstrated what he was talking about in gestures, doing the cell phone like that. He didn't just say, I like the way he did his texting. He showed how he liked the way Lewis did the texting and the raising and the lowering of the voice. And Deward demonstrated that, so we really got the point. That's very, very good. I like the phrase he used, incarcerated by technology. I don't think that was quite the one that Lewis used, but I like that, incarcerated by technology. That's food for thought. He also gave a suggestion to Lewis about possibly if Lewis were a slightly less accomplished speaker, but even still Lewis wants to be the best of the best, so he's paying attention, possibly having too many of the same types of gestures. That was very insightful, I thought, but it was delivered in a very nice way. Lewis is a very powerful speaker, so it didn't detract too much, but it could, so that was very well done. My suggestion to Deward, and good luck, because Lewis is a good speaker, would be, since Lewis is an advanced speaker, to try to spend a little more time and to come up with, on the suggestions for improvement, to come up with 1 or 2 in addition for Lewis. You spent most of the time was spent on how great it was, which is also showing the listening and showing the adherence to what the objectives are for the project. But I would also say, just as I had to struggle to get a suggestion for Deward, actually, but I would say a little more emphasis on, dig in there, what can Lewis use for improvement. Prana, also excellent recap and review of our Table Topics program. I like that he did specifically each person, because each person is different. He gave, with Deward, specific comments. Deward stayed on topic, and he gave him a suggestion to consider using the preliminary time. You have up to 30 seconds to think and organize. You don't have to, but might be something that could be useful, just a little bit. It's amazing how long 30 seconds is. Nirja gave comments, beautiful, eye contact with the audience, suggestion to move around. So again, it's great if you can give some suggestion for improvement. Gave a comment about me, doing personal story, didn't give me a suggestion. You're not afraid of me, are you?
Sometimes.
You're not. You think you can't give me a suggestion?
No, you're just perfect.
No. See, now that's sweet, but that everybody can get a suggestion. But anyway, I'm playing with you, but, so
Yeah.
that's the thing, you want to do a suggestion. Emery, he didn't give a suggestion for Emery either. Again, that's something you just gotta kind of dig in, try to find that.
No.
And then Tabitha, he gave a suggestion to move and reflected well on what she had said and gave good positive comments. Really liked the evaluation, Prana, and also you didn't wax off into getting too fast for yourself. Big improvement. So really like that. With that, I will hand it back to our Toastmaster for the evening, Rick Starr.
Thank you, Jean. And now the awards presentation part of the ceremony.
Anytime now.
Let's see.
Exercise here.
So for best evaluator, who are get to return this to us when you're. Thank you. World's record for returning the. Now for best table topics. Emery. Thank you. And for best speaker, Louis Denbow.
I outdid myself again.
And now to turn it over to our president again, Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Just a couple of general points and then we have an announcement. General point would be, because we record our meetings, we are sound sensitive. And because I happen to live with the sound man, I have heard him on a Saturday morning quietly. All right, so this is a family show, but quietly making noises about noises that get picked up by our equipment, including whispering, well-intentioned whispering, because you're trying to help someone get organized. But I'm going to ask you just to be mindful. Once we start the meeting, it gets very quiet. The whispering can carry, and conversations that you feel like are quiet are actually detracting a little bit from the meeting. So just try to get all of your ducks in a row before the meeting starts if possible. I understand sometimes things happen, but that would be the best, that would be my recommendation there. Our announcement is that, and our officers don't even know this yet, and that's my fault, I apologize, but I've been out of town, is Rick and I have been in communication. Our special event, our special membership drive is not going to be this month. It is going to be February 2nd. So we are bypassing, and there are a number of reasons why this happened, or why we decided on this. We do have our speaker. Our speaker is going to be Corey May. But we had one of our major publishing or publicity channels was not going to be open the full time that we wanted it to be open for publicizing. That's the Fairfield Weekly Reader. Our speaker he works swing shifts and various kinds of shifts, and we were having a little trouble getting our information back in a timely manner to be able to create a poster and get that going. Plus, we were getting into November as a backup date, and we always want to do one of our member drives after, within last Tuesday of January or 1st of February, when people are busy thinking, okay, I'm done with the holidays, it's all done, now I need to improve myself, and what is this thing about Toastmasters that I keep seeing? And of course, we're all talking Toastmasters too. So that's a really big push, and then also at that point, we can be working with our dues a little bit more intelligently. So that is our that's our news. Rick is, of course, overseeing that project. And, yeah, so we have a little more time to work on it and put it together. But we have some of the main pieces already in place, so it should still be something very rewarding. And Rick's already got the library again for February, so we're just tracking that way. And if you have any questions about that, you can ask Rick or ask me as well. But that's where we are with our special event. Any questions just on that at all? Some of you don't even know what that is, special event. But
We'll have to wait.
we will have it's a special meeting, and we have, the first part of it is having a special guest speaker, talks on interesting topic, ties it into Toastmasters, and the second half of the meeting is a panel, which any one of you could be on, of new and more experienced Toastmasters, asking questions by a moderator on Toastmasters, and just kind of giving the audience a sense of what Toastmasters has meant to you, or what you're experiencing, even brand new members, what they are experiencing. So try to expand our member base at that point. And those of you that are watching at home, of course, you don't need to wait for the special event. You can come on down anytime. You're very well acclimated. You know us. We're in your living room every week. So come on down. It's time, really. It's overtime. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes,
come
okay.
on down.
All right, come on down. All right, with that, I think we're going to go ahead. Is there any other club business that we need to have? Yes?
Just a reminder, there's the divisional contest this Saturday at North Libertyville Public Library at 1:30. If anyone is in the area to drop by, we have 2 representatives from the club, not this club, but from our area, who will be representing us, and come on down.
And will you remind us then who those representatives are?
Yeah, it's Ted Wallace, some of you may know him, who did the humorous speech contest, and the woman who finished second. Huh? Well, yes, the woman, it's okay, and the woman who finished second, Becky, also from Cambridge, is going to be representing us in the evaluation contest.
Do you know, Rick, if there's any people are driving up? I mean, it's sort of common to sometimes do carpools.
Yeah, we haven't worked it out yet. If anyone wants to come, just be in touch with me and we'll arrange carpooling.
Since you have 2 going from Cambridge.
Yeah, we have 4 of us from Cambridge. I'm going to be the chief judge again.
Mary
Mary's going, Becky and Ted.
and Ted. Okay, so it's fun. It's always fun, and they need help. You won't just go there and be a lump on the log in the audience. They need help. They need ballot counters and timers and stuff like that. So, it's fun. All the clubs are contributing. Well, thank you, Rick. Be in touch with Rick. Is there anything else on any of this? Okay, any club business? Okay, I wanted one last thing. We are at our mark. I want to make sure those of you who your last speech is fading in the distance, I want you to go talk to Rick and get your next date scheduled. Because we don't want, there's something about that, when too much of a gap happens, your gears start to get gummed up. And we want your gears working smoothly. So if it's been more than a month, maybe 6 weeks, time to go see Rick and get scheduled again. Does that sound okay?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, all right, good. Okay, with that, since we're at time, I can call the meeting adjourned.
Very nice.